there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. I'm a UK-based Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Thank you for joining me today. Today is Good Friday in the Church of England. I know for Eastern Orthodox churches, Easter is later, but certainly in the UK today is Good Friday. So I thought I would bring a Good Friday themed project, and I'm using a very old and very loved stamp set that is currently still in the annual catalogue. Whether it will still be there when we get the new catalogue at the beginning of June, I don't yet know. But it's Hold On to Hope. It's a red rubber stamp set, and this is the card I've made. I've got lots of little bits in here that I've kept. So it's red rubber. It has the Cross of Hope die set that goes with it. And I'm using two of these dies today. I'm using the label and the smaller or narrower large cross. There is a very small cross as well. So let me show you how I have made this. Let's pop all these bits back. One day I'm going to make a card out of them. They've been in my stamp case for a long time. So let me show you how I've made it. It's not complicated. It does involve heat embossing 2 elements, but other than that, it's not terribly complicated. I'm going to start with a piece of Sahara Sand card, which is the colour that I used previously. I don't think I need that anymore. So I'm going to heat emboss with clear embossing powder. So obviously the first thing I'm going to do is use my embossing buddy. I've got my stamp already mounted up on the block, so I'm just going to add some Versamark ink to that and then pop it kind of in the middle-ish, but I want the stalk to be kind of central and then the top bit to be coming off to the right a wee bit. It will become more apparent later. Now I am going to be trimming this card down, but I wanted to see how everything felt before I did that. So that is my Versamark. I'm going to bring in my clear embossing powder. We will be using copper as well, but not just yet. So clear embossing powder over that. Let's do it twice. I always do 2 dabbles into my embossing powder, and sometimes I manage to keep it in the box, just not this time. Okay, that is the only thing I need the clear embossing powder for. While I've got embossing buddy and the like out, just check that that's, yep, that's fine. That can sit for a while. You don't have to heat emboss it immediately. I'm just going to get rid of all the spare embossing powder. While I'm going to be heat embossing, I'm going to emboss the label as well, for which I need the copper. And I've got a piece of very vanilla cardstock. So again, embossing buddy, and I've got the God is Love stamp. And just pop that. Don't know why I decided I needed to turn it over. It's almost the same both sides, but hey, there we go. I'm just weird like that sometimes. So open up my copper embossing powder, and actually I'll just snip away there and there, and then just again dabble. And just give it a flick at the back just to make sure there's no stray bits, which there don't appear to be. Pop the lid on that. Now I'm going to start my heat gun. It does make a noise, for which apologies, nothing much I can do about that. While I'm doing that, you may want to take the opportunity to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, if you don't already subscribe. And do remember that if you're in the UK and you want any of these products, you can shop from my online store, which is linked below, and over on my website, which is also linked below. So this is the Sahara Sand piece. And as ever, I am using my trusty cheese board. So that's that all done. Let me grab this and do this one as well. Okay, right, so that needs to set for a while. And then I can die cut it, but at the moment it's a wee bit hot to put through the die cutter. So let's have a look at this. So this is covered in embossing powder. This is going to be our background. Now for this one I used soft suede as the background colour, which I think is a bit too dark, so I'm going to try crumb cake this time. So I've got my crumb cake and a sponge dauber. And I'm just going to add some ink to my sponge dauber, and then I'm going to start in the middle and just swirl. And I'm going to use that clear embossing as a resist. So you kind of need more ink round the embossing and less as you go out. So start near your embossing and then work out from there. But I do want all of that embossing surrounded by ink so that it stands out. And then I can come back in and make the shape a kind of more sensible shape. Having done what I want, which is this bit, I want the splodge to then be slightly more uniform. So rather than following the kind of S shape, I want it to be a little more uniform. And actually I want some more ink just there. That's better. And that's a better colour, I think. It's still quite a lot darker than you would imagine crumb cake would be, but it's a lot better than the Sahara sand. Okay, so this is the point at which I'm going to decide where I'm going to cut. I want this to end up measuring 5.5 by 3 3/4, and at the moment it's not. It's a bit larger than that. So I'm going to look at this and see. We're slightly more to the right than we are to, sorry, slightly more to the left than we are to the right. So I'm going to cut the 1/4 inch off there. And I think I want it a little higher up. So the other 1/4 inch I'm going to take off the top. Now, if I had been happy with the position, I would have taken 1/8 of an inch off each side, because that's how much too large my card was. But that's, for me, that's a better position. It all looks more even. In fact, I might just bring that a wee bit further out, because then it will balance that piece and that piece. Right, I do still need that. Okay, I'm going to now add this to, this was early espresso because it went too dark. This is soft suede. I have already done some die cutting, as you can see. So I'm just going to, throw my glue apparently, add some adhesive, and I'm adding it to the soft suede because then I can see where glue can go. If I were to add it to the back of the Sahara sand, you can guarantee that I would end up with glue where the gaps are and not where the card was. So just add that there, and then I'm just going to turn it over and press down so that that is all nicely stuck. I've already got 3 soft suede crosses die cut. I've also got a copper foil. This I'm going to emboss, dry emboss, which is what I did with this one, with the plank embossing folder, which is this one. This is in the annual catalogue. So while I'm doing that, I'm also going to die cut the label. So you kind of choose where you want, make sure it's the right way up, where you want your pattern or how you want your pattern, because there are a variety of wood shapes, if you like. So I think I might go, actually I like that wibble there. That's got a definite wibble. So I'm going to go there, and I'm having the lumps coming up from behind. Lumps being a technical phrase, of course. Okay, so let me run that through very quickly. So that, that is my embossed cross. And now I just need to do a quick bit of juggling with plates, because inevitably I had the wrong plate on my die cutting machine. And I need the stamp set. There it is. I need the die. Always a plan to have the die. Now there is a right way and a wrong way with this. So that is one way, and that is not quite the same. Can you see that it does have a definite shape? So you do need to make sure you get it the right way up. Otherwise you'll think there's something wrong with the die. Ask me how I know. It took me a while yesterday when I was prepping this to work that out. Need my plate, of course. Oh, I just moved the die. This is where I should use my washi tape to hold it in place. Okay. So there we go. Right, so all I need to do now is to pop it all together. The first thing I'm going to do is with the sponge dauber is just add some crumb cake to the edge of the label. It looked too stark without it, too kind of pristine. So just giving it a bit of a vintage feel works wonders. Right, okay, so these I need to layer up. So I need the back of quite a few of them and some adhesive. Actually, having said I need the back of quite a few of them, I'm going to put the glue on the front. So you just need a little bit of adhesive on these, and they go together really quite nicely. You need to get that perfect amount that allows you to move them, but means they don't move too much. And just a fine line is about the right amount. So I'm hardly putting any pressure on the glue. I'm just getting it all over me. I'm just getting it started and then letting it kind of run its course. So that's that. And then the last one will be the copper piece. Now the back of the copper is a slightly shiny surface, and we've got embossing, so it's not, there's not a huge amount of surface to adhere. There is enough, but do just be careful that you have got sufficient. And if it looks like it's pulling off anywhere, just kind of squish it backwards and forwards a bit, and then it'll spread the glue out a bit, which works quite well. And then that is going to go over there. And this is why I wanted this to be coming out, because I want to cover the shoot, the stem, that's the word I'm looking for, but I want this coming out, and then just make sure you've got that in a suitable place, which I have. So now I can just cover this with adhesive. Well, I say cover, add some adhesive, and then pop this down. So in the UK this weekend, starting, well, in fact, I'm filming this earlier in the week, and we've had the most amazing weather. And the forecast for the weekend is for certainly today, Friday, and tomorrow, Saturday, to be stunningly good days. And hopefully it will continue for the remainder of the weekend. It's kind of weird here at the moment because we're doing the whole self-isolation thing and social distancing. The weather is kind of less important than it might have been because we're only allowed to go out for essential shopping, and all the shops are shut on Sunday because it's Easter, and for exercise. So the only reason that it's nice to have good weather is if you are lucky enough, as we are, to have a garden. So I will be continuing my battle with the weeds while I try and win that one. So yes, it's weed battle time. My garden is not going to know what's hit it. I normally ignore the weeds, but not this year. Okay, so I did put something on the inside. I thought I had. So with Sahara Sand, I'm going to just ink up the bottom of my stamp and grab a scrap of paper. A shipping notice is always a good thing to use, and just add a little bit of stamping at the bottom of the card. That will fade. It does go back to being what one might expect Sahara Sand to look like. Don't need that. And then all I need to do is, again, I'm going to add the adhesive to the piece that I've die cut from so that I can see where to put the glue. There's no point in me putting glue here because it won't touch the Very Vanilla card base. I have cut my Very Vanilla in half, long and thin. I say it often, that is purely because from a photography point of view it works better if I want to show the inside of the card and the outside at the same time. It means that top folding works better, but you can just as easily do the fold on the side. So there we go. There are my two Good Friday projects. So we've got crumb cake and soft suede, or soft suede and early espresso. And as I said, the stamping on the inside will fade back. This one still has some drying to do, but this one, which I made yesterday, is now very much Sahara Sand. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And as I say, if you don't already subscribe, if you could, that would be fantastic. And if you're in the UK and either want to shop with me or join my team, get an amazing amount of product for less money, that would be fantastic. There's details of that on my website, and again, the link to that is below in the description bar. If you've got any questions or comments, if you leave those below, if you've got a question, I will get back to you with an answer, but it's lovely to see comments as well. Thank you very much indeed. Have a fantastic Easter weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye!